Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Brendan and welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, it is great to have you. And today I'm going to be giving my personal price prediction and analysis of Bitcoin. Now, it's no secret, Bitcoin has been on a tear for absolute months now. The more we zoom out, the more we see that Bitcoin has just been continually ripping to the upside for almost the entire duration of this year. But most recently, again, as we are continually hitting new yearly highs almost every single day, we have finally began to pull back. And I want to talk about this pullback that Bitcoin is having, what caused it, and if Bitcoin can continue heading to the upside, which I very much do think that it will. But I want to break this down and talk about kind of the cause and effect of this and what Bitcoin can look like moving forward, because again, it is already seeing support from multiple different levels, and I want to talk about that. So if that sounds interesting in any way, make sure you guys stick around for the entire length of the video, as there will be important information discussed the entire way through. But with that being said, let's go ahead and dive on into this guy. Now, of course, the most kind of, I guess the name of the game here is that Bitcoin has been bullish for a very long time. I say that every video, but it's true, and this has been happening for months now, so I will continue to say it until it's not the case, because the trend is your friend, especially on something like this. And anyone who has been a bear has been, for the most part, been very, very suppressed for the majority of this year now. So with Bitcoin hitting this new yearly high just above $13,800, it started to see a pullback. And this actually happened when the futures market opened for commodities and indices, and they started tanking. And so when these started tanking, we saw Bitcoin started moving down as well. But even despite through all of this, Bitcoin is still holding support, while the stock market, things like the NASDAQ, saw about a 3.5% move to the downside today, which on an index is pretty volatile. On Bitcoin, on the other hand, that's just a normal day. But with Bitcoin coming down here, I want to talk about the two main levels of support that Bitcoin has hit and how it's actually holding both of these levels pretty well so far. So first things first, the previous range that it had been consolidating in is now being used as support. And in fact, what we're seeing is that when Bitcoin came down into this range, we immediately started seeing a bounce and these two giant wicks formed. So what we're able to see is that the actual candle body closings from when, and I need to zoom in over here, but the actual candle body closings from when Bitcoin ended this 4-hour duration was still towards the top of this range for the most part. And so this is a really good sign to show that there are buyers in this level, and that we are having what was previously resistance and consolidation is now going to be used as support. Now, the second thing here is that this 50 EMA on this 4-hour time scale is very, very clearly being used as support once again. Now, we've seen this in the past. Again, we've seen right over in here. We've seen it, a lot. I would say the most immediate time that we have seen this in the past was about October 17th, October 15th, this whole area where we can very clearly see that Bitcoin was bouncing off of this level and then made its next measured move to the upside. Now, this isn't anything too crazy to see, and in fact, I don't think that there's any reason to call this all doom and gloom yet, because again, we're holding this previous consolidation. We're bouncing off of the 50 EMA on this 4-hour time scale. And if we zoom out to a 1 day to get a little bit more of a macro perspective, we can see that there is buying pressure in this area, and what is previously resistance is now being used as support. But even if it doesn't, I think that we have all the way down to about 2,500, which is the previous swing high. And I think that as long as we come down and we use this $12,000 to $12,500 area as what was used to be resistance, as long as we use that as support now, Bitcoin's still looking very, very good. I mean, it is almost textbook to when Bitcoin does this. It breaks above an area, it does a whole break, hook, and go formation. So what I mean by that is if we want to actually zoom out over here, a great example of when this happened on a macro scale last time is when Bitcoin had this giant ascending triangle over here, where we can see the resistance right here and obviously the climbing level of support all the way up until the breakout. Bitcoin broke out, came back, tested this the top of this previous consolidation range, and what was previously resistance was now used as support over here. Again, we can see that from the rejection, not once, not twice, but actually 3 different times, turned into this support of range. And so when Bitcoin broke out, came back down, tested this relative range, and then continued its breakout. So I don't think it'd be too crazy here to say that Bitcoin can't come back down into this mid to lower 12,000 range, test this area as support, and then repeat the exact same cycle that it had been on and done in the past. Again, we're kind of just betting that history will repeat itself, and what Bitcoin has done consistently in the past, it could very well consistently do in the future. So there's nothing too complicated about this. Again, just looking at reoccurring patterns on Bitcoin, what it likes to typically do, and the way that this guy likes to behave. We're very far from our EMAs on this daily time scale, but in good news, they are both pointed almost straight upwards from what we're looking at right now, between the 50 EMA right here around 11,600 and our 200 EMA all the way down around $10,400. With that being said, again, great volume over here. We're starting to see the daily MACD point down. It's nothing too crazy or shocking. We are up like 30% this month, I think. So it's absolutely ridiculous. And one of the other very, very important things to say here is that it's only a matter of time until we see some sort of pullback. The greatest, runs or moves to the upside always have some sort of pullback along the way, and if they don't, it's very unhealthy, and in most cases it's actually pretty scary. So it's a good thing that we are pulling back and actually bouncing off of support here. Even if we break, there's a lot of support below this. Again, we have almost an entire year worth of support below us. So I am really not too nervous about where we are at in Bitcoin's stance right now. We have officially broken almost broken multi-year highs, and this is actually something I didn't see, and maybe I'll save this for a separate video. But if we want to go back to this one-day time scale, we are actually testing the final level of resistance on a multi-year high, I don't know what to call this, macro view. What I mean by that is, I feel like I just made that way more complicated than it needed to be. But our high from 2019 is $13,800. And in fact, that is exactly where we tested over in here before we started seeing this resistance and rejection, and even the little bit of a sell-off that we did see today. So Bitcoin is rejecting, or at least testing, this previous year's high, last year's high from back in July of 2019. We're testing this, and if this breaks this means that this would be multi-year highs for Bitcoin, which would be, again, incredible. People have their sights set on that 2018, 2017 highs as of our next areas, and if we're looking at those, again, the resistance for those guys are up to $17,000 to $20,000. So we certainly are in for a ride. Whether that's to the upside or the downside is for you to decide. Again, I'm just kind of expressing my personal thoughts over here. Nothing I say is legal, financial, or tax advice in any way. But needless to say, whether you're a bull or a bear, it's a very, very exciting time to be in the world of cryptocurrency, as there seems to be a lot happening both technically and fundamentally. So hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. If you guys did, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, as it does help out the channel a lot. And until next time, guys, I will see you guys very, very soon.